All right, let's talk some Raiders and let's talk some Derek Carr for a second. One thing that I find interesting with Carr, and this is something that, I got a lot of criticism early on this season when I kind of said, hey, I think receivers can matter a lot more in the passing game than protection. Obviously, you need time to throw, but the reality is if no one's getting open, doesn't matter how much time you have, you're not going to find guys to be able to throw to. And I think that with the Raiders, you kind of have seen that come into play. Their offensive line's been bad this year. There's no getting around it. It's not been a great offensive line. However, because Carr's played really well this year, and because they have a good receiving talent when healthy, you saw a lot of success early on, but then when, Ruggs obviously has to leave the team, and then Darren Waller, in a much less dramatic way, he also, has been sidelined for a couple of weeks. You've seen the offense struggle a lot more, but it's not Carr's fault, and I want to be really clear on that. I know that the numbers aren't as good, but I think Carr is still playing really good football. Sure, you can find issues in certain select games. You can do that with most quarterbacks, but for the most part, I think he's playing really good football. Like, let's start off with a play like this, where what's going to happen is it's man coverage, and you have Hunter Renfrow, who, that's the one guy you still have, is Hunter Renfrow, who's really good. Like, Hunter Renfrow is really underrated. He's a fantastic player, but anyways, watch what's going to happen on this play, because it's man coverage, and you're going to see Renfrow run over the middle. So it's a play that could get open. There is a linebacker over the middle, though, so that could make it a little bit more difficult. Like, watch how right when this play begins, you see with a lot of the traffic in front, Renfrow is able to get open pretty easily, but you also see that there's a couple of Denver players sort of in between Carr and Renfrow. So that makes it a much more difficult throw. These are hard throws to make. It looks easy because, look at how open Renfrow is, but you have to remember the angle in which Carr is throwing it from. That's where, sometimes when you're watching it looks like it's wide open, but in actuality, it's a lot less open and it's a much more difficult throw. But look at this timing and this accuracy on that throw from Carr. He's not getting big windows to work with, but he's still hitting these windows. I thought that that's a lot of what happened in this Denver game, is the windows were small, and he was still doing an impressive job of hitting them. But I just think stuff like that, it's really impressive that he can continuously do that. Now let's move over to something like this. And I think one of the criticisms I've heard from Derek Carr, I've heard about Derek Carr that I would mostly agree with is like, well, how much of a playmaker is he? And I think that's probably fair. Like, he isn't someone like, let's be honest, he's not Kyler Murray. Okay, he's not going to scramble outside the pocket and something that's just, a complete how did he get out of there and still find a way to make a play. But I do still feel like Carr is someone who can, when the play breaks down, find a way to make something happen. And this, I do maintain this, that he's at least solid enough at it, and he's done a good job of it. This is going to be a good play. Where, just to be clear, the way that I think most people define playmakers is when someone can, use their athleticism to make something happen when the original play doesn't work, which is not far off from how I define it. But to me, the way I define it is, so there's an original play that's called by the offensive coordinator or head coach. That's what the play is. And if that play doesn't work, do you still find a way to get a positive out of the play? And this could be several different ways. This could be like, a lot of times Tom Brady will just see something at the line and check the play to something else that does work. So to me, that still counts as playmaking. For Derek Carr, watch what he's going to do here. Where the way this play typically works is the routes over the middle. Those are the ones that Carr is typically going to want to throw to. If not, he can just take one of the checkdowns underneath, but watch what happens. So Carr takes the snap, and you're going to notice on this play, it's good coverage by Denver. Like, listen, this happens. Sometimes good coverage does happen. And Carr, again, the offensive line, like I said, has had better seasons, let's just put it that way. So there's, it's going to break down a little bit. And part of this, too, is it works together, right? The offensive line looks worse when the receivers aren't getting open. Like, that's a very real thing. Because it's not like the offensive line on this play is, like, being horrible or anything. I mean, we're, almost 3 seconds into this play, actually. So they've done their job. It's just the receivers didn't get open. And this, this is how football happens sometimes. So for Carr, what do? You could take that check down, but it's dangerous, and you don't know if you're going to get the first down. One thing I should mention is the 34-yard line is the first down marker. That's where you have to be, and watch what Carr is going to do. Look at him be able to scramble outside the pocket, and he's saying, hey, who said I'm not Kyler Murray? He's going to run over, and he's going to pick up the first down on a key third down situation. I feel like I've seen Carr do this from time to time. I don't think, he's not some statue in the pocket. He really isn't. He can move around. I'm not saying he's some, dual threat quarterback. I mean, he has 253 rushing yards, but my main for his career, not for the season, for his career. The most rushes he's ever had in a season is actually a 3-way tie for 39. That's kind of interesting. One of those this season, so this is the time he's run it the most. And again, I'm not really talking about, oh, look, Carr is great because he can run with the football. No, that's not my point. My point is that he still finds ways to make stuff happen from time to time, and that's what I like about him. Obviously, the throwing ability is the best part of his game. Like, here's a good example where what's going to happen is this is just an incredible play by Carr, where the concept is, it's a concept designed to beat zone coverage. Typically, you have, underneath route, a deeper route, and if the safety, and a route over the middle, and if the safety ends up kind of covering Hunter Renfrow, who's the one who's running the route that's going to be the deepest towards the back of the end zone, then for Denver, you can still make this play work, but at least you have a safety on Hunter Renfrow. That's a mismatch, and that's something you want to take advantage of if possible, although it is going to be good coverage on this play. Watch how when Carr takes the snap, you're going to see he just makes a perfect throw. Like, there's nothing else about that. That's just an incredible throw, and it's the whole, you can't beat a great throw and great catch no matter what. Like, no matter, good defense still can't stop a perfect throw and perfect catch. That was a perfect throw. That was a perfect catch. There still always is that aspect that Carr can pull out in any moment. I want to talk about this play as well. This is going to be the interception at the end of the half, which, listen, I hate this stuff. I've always maintained, we saw Tom Brady throw a pick six in a very similar spot. If you're going to run out the clock at the end of the half, run out the clock. Take a knee and just kill the clock. That's what you want to do. Or, if you have to, and quite frankly, I would say if the other team has timeouts and you have to move the ball, then you probably have enough time yourself to see if you can score points. So really, I think either drive down the field or run out the clock. Don't do this 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing. It almost never results in points, and it will sometimes result in giving up points. And what's interesting is, so I've shown on the screen that there's a twist going on with the Denver Broncos. What's interesting is that when Tom Brady threw the pick six, the same thing happened. There was a twist going on, which, twist, stunt, whatever you want to call it. It basically means that the interior defensive lineman, in simplistic terms, it's like the interior defensive lineman becomes the edge rusher, and the edge rusher becomes the interior defensive lineman. It's a little bit more complex than that, but that's kind of, a way to simply understand it. And in doing this, I actually think that if I'm a defensive coordinator now, and I've seen this work multiple times, I'm always calling twists in these situations. Why not? Because it can screw things up. Look, when Carr takes the snap, he's assuming the edge rusher to be running continuously towards the left, towards his left and further closer to him, which would then mean that Carr can make this throw and you can get a little screen pass going, and actually probably would have gained some yards. So, it could have worked out all right. This is the kind of thing, though, that you do have to be mindful of. I think it's fair to put some criticism on Carr. I do. But I also think it goes to, listen, when Carr's already making his decision to make this throw, he's not expecting that Bronco player to be there, because if it was a traditionally ran pass rush set, he wouldn't be there. So that's kind of the thing. And again, it kind of makes me think, hey, here's something to talk about. Run twist in these spots. Try to get interceptions in these spots if you can. It's a good strategy. Carr tries to flip. Looks like he tried to flip it over him. I'm not even sure if he saw him, though. He might have just tried to throw it there already. Wasn't a pick six, but it was down at the 1. Led up to a touchdown, and that could have been the difference, because it's not like Locke was moving the ball with any effectiveness. So that wasn't good. Like, the turnovers aren't good. There's no denying that. But still, I think the good outweighed the bad with Carr. So yeah, that's how I feel about Derek Carr. Like, listen, I get it. There is some issues there, and okay, Derek Carr isn't Patrick Mahomes, but not every quarterback is, and there's still a lot of value in a guy like Derek Carr. I do think you can win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr if you have the right team around him. I just think they really struggled to get the right team around him. And again, it's hard to win a Super Bowl anyways. It's hard to get to the playoffs anyways. I think that there's a lot of interesting parallels between Carr and Matt Stafford. I would say you can certainly start to make those comparisons. And even this season for the Raiders, it was looking like it was going good. It was kind of just stuff that it's hard to really control going against you. So there's a lot of stuff I like about Carr. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.